all good.
It's all relative.
All right, so I've been requested for some miracles. How do we get rid of this belly fat? Okay, if you've gone through menopause as a woman, okay, there's a difference in your body here. Yeah.
That's where we get our estrogen.
That's where we get the estrogen, yes. I don't quite understand how that works. I mean, I know how it works.
But why?
Well, why? Yeah, this is just looking really light. Hang on, I need a little. I'm like, why are we so light? That is why. Okay. But there are some things we can do. Okay. However, you won't wake up tomorrow without it. One of the things is to be okay with it a little bit. We're not going to have our svelte little figures that we had even pre-babies, although I got all mine back pre-babies at the menopause. I really firmly believe that the minute we move from, I want to change this, I want to change that. Now, I understand the pain, I understand, those different things. I'm really becoming to understand, I should say, is more like. But the minute we can thank our God for a body that's working well, even with its cracked ribs, its shoulder, its knee, its hip, its sciatica, its heart, its belt. Yeah, we've all got something. But the minute we change our focus, you'll start to get answers faster of things you can do than when you don't. So that was like revelation. And I wish I would have had it earlier in my life, but that's okay because I got it now. So whenever I am in that mode, I try to, whenever I'm feeling the pain and my hip is causing, I really do try to go to a place where, you know what? There's so much more going right. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is there are some things we can do, okay? We'll do some breathing exercises today that require us to pull the muscle back. Part of what happens is we are using the top layer of muscle instead of the intrinsic bottom layers, okay? There's 3 or 4 levels to these abs if you count if you count the obliques that move us side to side, okay? Twisting is huge, okay? We'll also get on our backs and we'll do some with a block between our legs, some things that pull us down, what we want to watch for with our abs, okay? And I know I've got a couple of different layers on. What we really want to watch for with our abs is on our breath, right? Is our breath doing this? Can you see? I don't know if you can see that push out, okay? Yeah. On the exhale, try this with me. Inhale, you gotta sit up tall. On the exhale, pull back with the belly. It's like the belly button is being pulled with a crochet hook from behind. Just pull it in. The inhale, instead of coming, it can totally inflate the chest and the belly on the inhale, but on the exhale, you're pulling the belly back, okay? So from the side, the inhale, totally inflate the entire cavity, but on the exhale, you're pulling the belly back. You might go, but nothing moves. I'm trying to pull, but do you feel a tightening, right? It's the tightening that is working the transverse abdominis, which is the muscle that's right covering it's the muscle that covers the organs and the abdominal cavity. So every exhale, okay, there is an easier way to get to this than just pulling back, but the pulling back is what the movement, okay? So inhale. On the exhale, start with the pelvic floor lifting like a jellyfish. I can't show you that one, right? There's just no way that you feel that up movement. The minute the up movement comes, you'll start to feel the low abs. Now, the tendency we have is we do all that and our shoulders do this. So you're really trying to let this relax and isolate these muscles. So an inhale. On the exhale, the jellyfish lift, feel the pelvic floor lift, and you're actually going to feel the ribs. It's not this, but you're going to feel as if there's muscle and there is pulling down towards the hips. So we're accessing layers of muscle there, okay? And then you try to hold that, and then you can release it with. Does that make sense? So let's do 5. Inhale.
So do you pull the belly in or you just try to pull it up?
Well, you're pulling from the pelvic floor up and then the belly goes back. So the best example, I know you probably haven't crocheted, okay? Crocheted, okay? You know how you get the loop. I don't know if you ever watched your wives crochet, okay? The crochet hook goes through the loop, it catches the thread or the yarn, and you pull it back through the loop. I want you to feel like the crochet hook is here, okay? It's going down to the pelvic floor to catch that thread, and it's pulling up and back. And as you do so, you feel the pelvic floor lift, and you feel the back motion. You want to then feel, instead of letting the ribs just flare, you want them to come down. That is the rectus abdominis across the top, okay? And then you release. Now you notice I'm still breathing. I know, but if you'll notice this when you're sitting, maybe 2-3 times a day, and then what starts to happen is you'll notice it when you're driving. You'll notice it, and it may not totally reduce a ton of this. I'm sorry. But you'll be strengthening. And when we do this, the vertebrae of our spine, all those little tiny muscles that are surrounding, they work as well. So let's try 5.
That's good for the pelvic floor, right?
It's very good for the pelvic floor. And for the sit bones, which is a little bit because we're pulling those sit bones in without doing this. It's not a this movement. So just make yourself inhale, get as large as you can get. Exhale, feel the crochet hook, lift the pelvic floor into the low belly, pull the ribs and hold. Take another breath, but you don't move this. It's just almost like you've got this corset on, right? Tight corset, and then this is above the corset. You're still pulling and then just release everything. You will feel heat generated, okay? A lot of this is the root lock with the belly lock. We get somewhat into the throat lock, okay? These are called bandhas. Inhale. Get large. Exhale. Feel the pelvic floor lift. Pull the belly. Pull the ribs and pause. Take a deep breath. Inhale. But nothing moved. And then exhale, release everything. Just let it go. And then we pause for a moment and let our muscles have, okay? We want to train them to do that. Inhale. Big and large. Exhale. Pull up with the pelvic floor. Pull back with the low belly. Rib cage down. Hold. But still breathe. It's not going to be as deep a breath, but still breathe. Hold. You notice we're holding just a little longer. We've been doing it for a moment now. Release it all. And just breathe normal. Maybe you need to shift. Can you feel how your low back's worked? Okay. We're on number 3. Here we go. Inhale, get large. On the exhale, pull the pelvic floor up, pull the low belly in, pull the ribs down, and pause. Try to relax your shoulders, but still holding this in, okay? Take a few little breaths. They're not going to be long ones. Holding, 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 and release. Relax. Maybe you kind of do a few little squirty things. So if you can get in the habit of doing this with almost every breath, and it won't be as long, but you'll find that that belly becomes more supple and those muscles become stronger and you're able to pull in more and more. Okay, inhale, get wide. Number 4. Exhale. Pelvic floor lifts, pull the belly back, feel the ribs come down. Hold, little breaths. Maybe you need to close your eyes and just feel like somebody's tightening those corset strings, pulling from your back. And then release. And breathe normal. Maybe you need to work, move. What just amazes me is how fatigued my back can feel. Doing what? Right? That these muscles, this is just incredible. This body is so amazing. Take one last one. Inhale. Get really wide. Exhale. Pull up that pelvic floor. Feel the low belly, the rib cage. Tighten. Feel as if somebody's pulling back. You're not letting them win, but they're pulling back on your back. You're still breathing. Because we don't want to pass out, right? We need that breath. This is the longest hold. It's your 5th one, last one. And then release. Go ahead, roll forward. Yeah, stretch through. So what starts to happen, okay, is take an inhale. As you take a twist, go towards the doors. Exhale, pull the pelvic floor, feel the low belly, feel the rib cage, all as you twist. Tighten, and then inhale, release it. Okay, so you're just going to get in the habit of that happening pretty quick. Now, there are lock exercises, Uddiyana Bandha, Julandhara Bandha, and also the Mula Bandha of the pelvic floor, where you pull up and you hold the breath. That's not what we're doing. That's a benefit, but it's a total different thing than what we're doing here, okay? So inhale up. As you exhale, start to feel pelvic. As you twist, belly, rib cage, just complete the exhale, and then inhale. Release, come back to center. Okay, so you're going to try to just get in the habit of every exhale, there's just like this tightening of the core. Okay, I'm pulling in, I'm using my muscle. I'm not worried about the fact that it's not as flat as it used to be. Okay, we just let that go. And we just strengthen the muscles around us. Okay, let's do 4 more twists each side. So inhale. As you exhale, pull in and twist. Hold for just a moment and then inhale, release. And exhale. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale here. Pull the pelvic floor, low belly, rib cage. You're still trying to get a deeper twist. And then release. Inhale. And exhale. Here we go. Inhale. Exhale. Lift pelvic floor, low belly, ribs, right? And yes, release. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale up. Exhale. Hold. Pelvic floor, low belly, ribs. Take a deep hold. And then release. And then inhale. And exhale. 2 more each side. Inhale. Exhale. In, just hold for a moment and then release. Inhale and exhale. I'd like you to do an audible exhale. Notice if it helps to hold. Inhale. Audibly exhale. Belly up. Pull it in. Hold for a moment. Release. Inhale. And back to center. Last one, both sides. Inhale. Audible exhale. As you pull pelvic floor, low belly, rib cage, pause, release. Take a deep inhale and come back to center. Inhale, last one. Exhale. Pull belly, low pelvic floor, right? Rib cage, pause, release, and then inhale. And then exhale. And notice, close your eyes. Feel where you feel heat, tingle. Maybe it's just a little bit of a vibration, okay? You've just created that. Okay, we're gonna do one more, okay? Yeah, you feel it all the way around. It is the belt. So the transverse abdominis, the muscle that's right next to all the organs, there is a sheath that is not muscle, okay? And there is here on the back. That muscle wraps this way, okay? It's what supports. That's what we're working. This is taking the muscle that crosses the obliques, right? And we are pulling that in as well. And then when we hold, okay, and pull the rib cage down, it's the rectus abdominis. So we're getting the layers and we're just trying to work. So every day, the thing that's so cool about the abdominal muscles, they're different than the regular muscles of our legs in that we can work them every day. Okay, if you're weightlifting, you do legs, and then you do arms the next day, and then you'll do legs again, but you take a break in between. You don't have to do that with the abdominal muscles. Okay, there's one more that we'll do seated. Put your hands here. I want you to get as tall as you can. Then I want you to try and push your thighs away. And as you push your thighs away, let your belly pull back and in. Continuing to breathe, just every push down. So I'm pushing into my thighs, and at the same time, I'm pulling back. Let me come from the side. I'm pulling back. I'm not rounding, but I'm pulling back, and I'm feeling. This is the transverse abdominis. This is the one that gives you the six-pack that you think you gotta have or you're not cool. Push down and pull back. I'm totally just pulling. I could lose my hands and I'm still pulling back. I'm really feeling, and it is this rib cage pull down. It's like a window shape coming from right here on the ribs down to the hips, pulling that in, and then release. And that one you really will feel in your back, because we're pulling into those back muscles. But they're also making our back muscles stronger, okay? So let's come back. Let's do 2 more of those. That's a little bit more intense. See if you can move your feet out a little further. Come a little bit more to the edge of your chair. Sit up straight and tall. Plant those hands. Inhale, lengthen. You are going to feel as if someone you've got little hook and eyes all the way up your spine, and they are pulling you back, and you're not letting them go. And then just breathe. You're holding. It's a hold. It's an isotonic contraction where we don't really move. Pull back. Feel just a little bit of an action going there. It's also working our back, but you notice we're not rounding into our back. It's as a different, and then release. 1 more of those. Okay, inhale. Exhale. Pull back. Feel that pull. Keep breathing. Inhale. Every exhale, feel a little bit more of a tug, like somebody's tightening the corset behind you. Inhale. 1 more. Pull back. Inhale. Here we go again. It's pulling back. Inhale. There is a pull back and a release. Go ahead and move around. Okay. So those are some of the things that you can do. Okay. Because the reason we feel it in our back is because those muscles just worked. Okay. And they worked doing just kind of tightening because we're pulling, we're just getting that sensation of a little bit of back movement. Cat-cow. Just find the cat-cow. Okay. Reach and move. Forward and back. Go ahead and try the barrel roll. Ooh, yeah. So, we've also had a request for some sciatic pain. The sciatic nerve is a part of what runs through the hip socket, okay? Usually here, but it can radiate all the way down. The reason it can go all the way down is because we have muscle that goes all the way down, okay? It's different for a lot of people, okay? Opening the hip socket. So creating space between the femur bone and the hip bone, pulling it away, is the very best thing you can do for the sciatic pain. There's 3 or 4 things that will help us do that. Let's start with the block. We've done this. We did it last week we did it 2 weeks ago when we were doing hips, okay? Because hips are culprit of a lot of things. So, oh, you didn't get a block. How?
There's one right there.
Okay. So, I'm just going to ask this. I want you to think through this because this is how we figure out what to do with the body. Okay. So you're going to take it a little out to the side. I know that hip. So be gentle. If that's too high, if you want to bring it a little lower, if it gets too crampy, okay, you lower that. To move this leg away from here, the shin has to go that way. So we have to direct the shin moving away from my seat. Okay, take the block further away from you. There you go. The more you're further away this way, the more pull you'll have with that. Yes? Okay?
Yeah.
Now, you're going to create some movement. So we're going to tuck and untuck the tailbone. Now, I want you to just feel something. This is back to abs, because we can do abs all day long with this stuff. Okay? Take a deep breath, inhale. On the exhale, will you feel the pelvic floor lift up as you tuck the tailbone? And then you're pulling this away as you inhale. Come back up. And on the exhale, the tuck of the tailbone is actually moving that a little bit away, at least on this side. We're going to do both. You might, and if you start to get a cramp right here in the glute and in the hip, you come out, you wiggle it around, you be gentle with it, right? You create space. Go ahead and come out, roll through. Oh, yeah. Finding, roll your other one. Other leg. Yeah, that one. And then just swing it side to side. Okay. So that's one. Is just finding that movement. Okay. If you'll push down into your foot and reach the shin, you really will feel this leg just kind of, you're watching it going, it's not really moving. It's that directional. We call it opposition in all things. We are just literally trying. So with my hip socket, my pain in my hip, this isn't every day. I lie on my belly in bed before I get out of bed and when I first go to bed. And I'll have one leg out. I'm on my belly. And I just pull the knee wide. And then I come back in and I do the other side. Okay. So that's number one. Let's do the second side.
I can tell that's doing something because it's kind of hurting. You know, sometimes we don't want to do it because
It hurts.
we think that hurts.
Oh, I know.
Maybe it's.
Yeah. Okay. So get it away, far away as you can. So when I do, this is my sore hip, right? When I do this hip, when I first start, it's kind of like, it's okay. Because it's a little painful to do this. So I feel that stretch. Now, but you say, but Dad, you shouldn't move into pain. This is a different kind of pain than that sharp acute, okay? This is just this dull, burning kind of sensation. I'm reaching this. You can't even see it, but that's what's happening. And then you're gonna tuck the tailbone. The minute I tuck my tailbone, my pain's gone. The minute I come back to here, oh, it's back. So I know that it's on the front side of that femur bone where that is bone on bone. Because that's what they've shown in the pictures. And so you're coming in and out. Now try one with the pelvic lifted, the floor, the breathing. Inhale up. Exhale, feel the pelvic floor lift, feel the low belly pull back, pull down with the rib cage. And once you've got all of this is going to isolate your hip. Take your knee and make it go wide. It's not moving. It's just directional pull. And then release, bring it out. Now for me, this is the movement that, but if I do those, I can walk without a limp. I can walk without pain. I know, it's just crazy. So that's number one, pulling the femur bone out. Okay, number two is difficult for people sometimes with knees and hips. Okay, so bring a block, put your, you're gonna put your, it's this foot, because I'm gonna work this leg. No, take it over that way. There you go. Bring it up, and it's the pigeon pose. Yeah, yeah. Okay, is that okay in your hip? For a minute. Okay.
They're gonna have to put on the block right now.
The block, the block will make it a little tight. No, the block's more intense.
That's what the block is more intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, the block is more intense.
But sometimes the block is easier to get the foot because it doesn't have to, it's an easier lift for the leg. So if that is way too intense, here is fine, okay? So the block will intensify, but the block also makes it easier to get the leg here, okay? So yeah, so you are not pushing down ever, okay? But you are trying to push this that way, flexing the foot, because the flex, so you're going like this. Can you feel that in the hip? Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. That's intense. Pulling the femur away from the hip. You're coming in and out. You're coming in and out, okay? And you can do this. This isn't okay. Now, pause that and try to do the hula. Oh, yeah. So you're looking for a way to just create space in that socket. Go ahead and release, but notice the difference now. And that feels so good. So that, it's pigeon stretch. You can do it on your belly, you can do it standing, okay? Pigeon standing. Stand up and give this a try. Okay, use your chair, so you're gonna go around behind it, right? I do this in the grocery store. Just go, you should just shop with me sometime and see. Okay, you're gonna come up, you're crossing it over, and you're bending, and you're sticking. But now you're just trying to get that to move that way. Yeah, can you feel how you're creating almost the same stretch, but you can do it seated. You're working your other leg, change legs. I know. And then come up and just let it wiggle. Okay, it's like we're basting. We're getting, but can you feel the difference between one and the other? The tightness loosens, okay? So pigeon, number 2. Let's come back. We'll do it seated and then standing. I like the block. It intensifies it. It also, for whatever reason, seems to make it easier to get the foot up and across. But if you want to do it from down, that's fine, okay? Now, what goes that way? Yeah, I'm just pushing that knee out. You can see, because I'm going to exaggerate this, that I'm like, oh, I tried, and then it goes this way. Yes, with your knee, can you believe that you can do that? Don't you push that down. Okay, pushing it down is a strain on the knee. We don't want to push our body like physically without resisting. Okay, that's injury waiting to happen.
Been there, done that.
Me too. Okay. Yeah. So knees trying to go that way. Foot is flexing, so heel is trying to go this way. Go ahead and you can just wiggle. That's just into the hip. Notice how limited that is. It's because of the directional turn we've created. And then pause that. Still feeling this. This doesn't go away. Try to just do the hula with the hips. It's not just shoulders. I'm moving down here. Yeah. Okay, and then come out gently. Wiggle through that. Yeah. Stand up. Let's try our standing pigeon. Come around behind. Hold on to your chair so you have some balance. Cross it up and over and sit. Sometimes this is easier than seated because there's just more range of motion. Your other leg now. I'm tracking you, bud. I'm tracking you. Use those pants. There you go. You got it. Just bend a little. Bend in the knee. Find the reach and the stretch. And now it's the hip. I'm pulling that hip wide. I'm creating that space in the hip. And then release. Come up. Wiggle out. Yes, will you do this? Stretch it. Find that length in the spine. Bend your knees. Reach those hips. Okay? So one of the other things that will help the hip, okay, those are 2 that are specifically designed to create space in the hip. What muscles hold those things together? Okay? Our quads, our hamstrings. So we have to stretch both of them. Okay, so this is hamstring, okay, bending the knees, reaching the hips. Your sit bones, you've done this before. Push down into the feet, lengthen forward with your head. My hips are going back, my head's going forward with the knees slightly bent. I'm stretching that hamstring. And then walk it up. You don't want to overstretch, okay? Coming in and out. The back of the leg should feel a little better, right? Here we go again. Bend those knees, reach it back, stretch, find that give. So my shins are reaching towards my chair. My head is reaching towards my chair. My sit bones are reaching back. And then come up. Beautifully done. Okay, to stretch the quad is tougher to do, especially with the knee. Okay, so standing, you're going to do this side first, so your good knee. Okay, you'll stand. Let me just turn my chair around. Okay, you're going to see if you can grab hold of your foot. Okay, and then you're pulling the stretch. That's a quad stretch. Ooh. Yeah, be careful. If you feel a cramp at all in the hamstring, you release. Come back in. If you can't reach, okay, totally do this. Get your foot in it. and pull it back, okay? So if you're not able to reach. But that stretch, okay, now I want you to pull the knee towards the floor. The foot and the hand are playing tug of war. And then you're just gonna lean your body a little bit back. And you'll feel a stretch in that quadricep. You can turn it out and back in. That's creating space in the hip, okay? And then release, okay? Other leg. So, for your other side, be careful. I want to watch, okay? Hold on. You okay? You're doing. Your knee has gotten so, go ahead, other side. I'm amazed at that. That bend used to not be able to happen. That's pretty impressive. Pull that up. Feel that stretch. Knee down. Okay. Breathe. And then wiggle a little side to side, moving. Hand and foot play tug of war. So I'm not just pulling in, I'm also pushing the foot out. And then gently release. Go ahead and release. It's just going to town. And come back to your seat. How's that feel? Pretty good? Yeah.
I can tell it's been stretched.
Yeah.
So that's good.
So that is just for the sciatic pain. The nerve, every nerve starts on the spine.
Right.
And then goes down into something, okay? That sciatic nerve goes down into those hips, right? And you just want space because it's getting pinched more than likely. Now, there's a couple more things. Go ahead and come back to a seat. So we have a muscle called the piriformis muscle. It connects sit bone to sit bone and runs kind of back along that way, okay? That piriformis muscle, when you pull the pelvic floor up, engages. So this is kind of subtle, like nothing else has been subtle, that duh. Okay, but I'd like you to feel as if you're trying to lean forward and widen your hips, okay? That is a stretch of the piriformis. You can feel it in the hamstrings, you can feel it in the glute muscles, okay? Now, with your lean forward, without pulling the sit bones in, I want you to try to draw them together. So it's gonna be like you're trying to tuck the tailbone, because go ahead and just from that width, tuck the tailbone. Can you feel how the sit bones narrow? Okay, you wanna keep them as wide as you can, and then you wanna try and pull them together. You're gonna feel your legs wanna widen. You're not gonna let them, okay? You're lifting that up. That is not pelvic floor. Can you feel it? Yes? No? Maybe so?
Describe it one more time.
Okay. Release. Shake it out. I'm just thinking for a minute if there's some other way to describe that. Bones. The bones that hit the chair. Okay? Take your blankets out. Oh, that was good. Did you see that?
Right, the same spot.
I know. It was like, now you can feel the sit bones a little better. Those bones, right, that you're hitting on the chair. Okay? Try to lean forward and widen those. Just try to make them go wide. They don't go very wide, but you can feel that stretch, yes? Okay. Now, try to pull them in towards each other. You'll feel the glutes tighten, okay? You'll feel the bones push deeper into the chair, yes? Okay? And then, so you've got that width and you're pulling that muscle in. As I pull that muscle in, I'm gonna try to lift the pelvic floor, but I'm not gonna let the muscle pull the bones. I'm holding them out. So I'm taking that muscle and I'm going, and then release it. Can you feel that? You feel it all through here, yes? Okay. And you also feel it between the sit bones. So that's another. So what we're trying to do is we try to get all the muscles that are around the hip and in this where that is coming down through, and we are creating space and extra blood flow, okay? So one more thing with those, and then we'll do just a few standing things because I want to get down and do our abs on the floor. These can be done in bed before you get out of bed, and that's why I want you to have those. One more for the piriformis here. Well, actually, it's kind of for the inner thigh too, and we've done this before. Just go wide, be careful with the hip, okay? Put your hands here. You're gonna pull, you're not doing this, but you're doing enough of that you feel, okay? I wanna widen my knees as wide as I can, but then I wanna push into my hands, okay? So my knees are like, there's 5, they're going wide, they're sticking to the wall, but then I'm pulling the inner thigh here. You'll feel the pubic bone kind of move forward. You actually get a little taller in your seat if you're getting that. And then release, gently walk that in. So that's inner thigh. Does that make sense? Let's try that one more time. Go wide, just you don't have to go really wide, but you are gonna try to feel as if the knees are sticking to something and they're stuck there. And then the hands come onto the inner thighs and you're trying to push the thigh. It's all this inner muscle here. It's trying to push into your hands, but you don't let the knees do this, okay? They stay wide and you're pushing against them. As you do this, you're gonna feel right down here, just the pubic bone kind of go a little bit forward. And then you'll sit up very tall, push into your feet. Use those feet pushing down into the floor to help engage those inner thighs. And then release by kind of just tucking, walk in, and then just wiggle. Yes? Okay. So we've done, okay, kind of 4 things other than the stretching of the muscle, okay? We've done up high, going wide, okay? We've done pigeon, both seated and standing. We've done this pull in. The back one, okay? So, then we've done a lot of ab work. So, go ahead and come to the floor on your backs. Make sure your block is handy to you, okay? I'll help you get set up on the blankets. I'm gonna leave the lights on. Okay. So I would like you, get both on the floor. Maybe I mashed them. I'd like you to get the block, if you can, in between your thighs. If you need to put it down on the floor, it's totally doable. But see if you can lift. So this is kind of what you're going to look like. Squeezing that block. This is core work. Look at, are you coming down? Or are you going to do this on the chair?
Chair.
Okay.
I can do it on chair.
We still remember our head and our spine underneath. Yeah.
I think so, sometimes it's a dizzy farmer's stuff with that.
Okay.
He started to do a lot of
Okay.
that.
So, if you're gonna do this seated, you gotta come clear to the edge. You can put your feet down, Michelle, while you wait. Okay? You're gonna come clear to the edge of your chair and you're putting a block in between your legs. So grab that block and put it in between your legs. Okay? These are just really, really good. I call them hover twists, so we're gonna hover. So if you're on the floor, your legs are gonna go to the side, and I'll get down and show you in a minute, to the side, they're not gonna touch. So be careful on your backs. If your back starts to really get fatigued, then you're taking a break, okay? If you're in your seat, move your feet this way, even more, okay? You're gonna go like this. You have to tiptoe to the twist. Okay, your body's stays forward. Your legs are going that way. You're like, but, yeah, and then come back. It's harder to do on the chair, obviously. And you're twisting, yeah. You can do it on the floor if you want. But, okay, if you're on the floor, you are here. These are some of the best things you can do. Palms face up, feet are flexed. Take the knees. They don't have to go far, or they can. And then inhale comes back up. The exhale takes them down. The inhale brings them up. So on the exhale down, can you pull the pelvic floor in? Bring them back up. Exhale. Take it to the other side. Some of the best do for your core, because here, if you feel that belly, pulling it down. So that just helps. So you're just going side to side. Okay.
Kind of like windshield wipers.
Yep, kind of. This is intense. See if you can pull the belly down while you do this. There you go. Squeeze it. Keep it coming here. Flex. Breathe. Yeah. And do that. It's like I'm falling all the way to the side. Don't go so far. You're coming up. Yes. I'm going to get you one for your head. Go ahead. Go. Just let the knees go down. Breathe. And then bring them back up. And then let them go. And bring them back up. Okay? But let me get something to your head.
We could do this.
So, relax. Take a breath. Yeah, that was intense. No.
Your body is
Okay. Yeah. So in bed, you can do this. Okay. It might be better. Okay, but can you see how these are wanting to be so lazy?
Yes.
Flex them, lift them. Okay, there you go. However, yeah, let me do this. Oh yeah, because then you're making those work. You don't have to go all the way down. Inhale. This is the hardest. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Don't go as far. Let it go where it can go. Right? Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Yeah, exhale. That's just some of the best. Then just stop. You're done. Windshield wipers, right? Lose the block. Feet on the floor. So in bed in the mornings, if you get up, you don't have to have a block, but you're just hovering and you're pulling one side down as the other side goes down. So as you're pulling the ribs the other direction. You do not have to go far to feel this. Let your body get stronger slowly, moving with your breath. Go ahead and just plant those feet, and now it's windshield wipers.
You know, when I do windshield wipers, I have to hold my stomach in 2 hours.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Take your feet a little wider, Michelle. There you go. They don't have to go that wide. Just hip bone, yeah. That will be harder on your back. Does that feel a little better on your back?
Yes, I
Okay.
have them close together.
Yeah, the closer the feet are together, the more intense the low back strain work
Well, maybe that's
is.
right.
Yeah, beautifully done. Then go ahead and take your knees all the way to one side. So you will learn this, right? When you do abdominal muscles. It's just, when you do core, it's the same as when you do back stuff. It's exhausting. It can be really fatiguing. So let the knees go one way, try to look the other way, and just let everything go. Right? This is that final twist at the very end. Beautifully done. And then take them to the other side and get a little twist that way. Breathe in and out, right? Let that sensation, and yeah, Gilbert, that's perfect, just doing it in the chair. And then go ahead. I want to be just really good. My new goal for myself is to be really good at being on time. So go ahead and just let me relax. Coming into Shavasana. Michelle, let's put a bolster under your knees because I think I'll release your back a little more. And you've worked your back today. Yeah. Just let it go. As you twist it in there. And pause and breathe. Let everything go. Let all of we did a lot today, a lot of specific stuff for a core, for sciatic pain. I have found that one of the things that is most beneficial for me is as I start to understand how the body works, I can figure out how to move it, how to get into different places. But if I am in a frame of mind that is back to what we started with, I'm just in pain, I just hurt. I hate this, why am I hurting? That doesn't answer the questions. When I pause and I come from a place of gratitude, and I go, wait a minute, how does this leg move? What were those exercises we did in class? Then what begins to happen is the body starts to soften. The mind is listening to the spirit that knows everything we need. And when the mind will listen and we listen to the mind, we start to get answers. The answers don't usually come in the strain. They usually come in the peace and the quiet. Whether it's just a little bit of moment seated, where you find maybe it's in Shavasana, like you are now. And I'm going to leave the recording here. This divine, this divinity, this light, this greatness that's within each of you. I see it. I know about it. I recognize it in each of you. And I bow to that. Namaste.